Hey, welcome to On the Path podcast with Cheryl Nembhard. Since I was a kid, I was told my conversations were way too deep. Well, now it's paying off. Join me and the names you know as we go deep into their personal stories of triumph, tragedy, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Friends, this crazy, overwhelming life we live calls for some serious encouragement and inspiration. So grab a cup of coffee and get your notebook because we're going into the classroom of life. So let's get lifted with faith-filled conversations. I'll see you on the path.
Watch in Canada on Yes TV and the Yes TV app. Or watch on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Pioneer Network, Faith TV, and more in the US. Also watch and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On the Path. I'm so excited to have this conversation today. I can honestly say it's very rare that I can say I have a sister in the building. And I have a sister in the building, y'all, a friend, someone who lit the way for me, has been a visionary, has been a pioneer for so many of us in media in Canada. And I am so privileged to have my friend in the building. She has a brand new film, and let's talk about it today. But first, let me tell you about the powerhouse that is Patricia Bebia. Patricia Bebia is a media trailblazer serving as the president and CEO of Diamond Plus Media and executive vice president of Afro Global Television. She's a prolific filmmaker and producer, and she's directed over 15 television programs, including The Visionaries, The Golden Button, and Standing Ovation. That's the show I was on. That was the beginning. She also created the drama series Omebella Palace, Beyond Film and Television. Patricia is the associate publisher of Excellence in Vision and Destiny magazines. Wow. She's led major industry initiatives, including serving as chair for the Real World Screen Film Festival, Institute and Foundation. And in 2016, she played a key role in launching Afro Global Television, which is a 24-hour network available across Canada. Her impact reaches far beyond this nation, and she's been recognized internationally, including a feature on CNN, and she's co-authoring 150 Extraordinary Canadians Legacy with a foreword from the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I don't know if there's anything more we can add to this list, but we are here today to talk about her latest movie, which is doing incredibly well, The Life Coach. Will you please give it On the Path? Huge Canadian welcome to Patricia Bebia.
Hey, hi Cheryl.
I am so excited to have you here. This feels full circle for me.
Mm, so glad to be here, and I'm so proud of the great work you're doing with your podcast. I've listened to a lot of episodes, and I love everything about it.
Oh, and Patricia, you have lit the way, and you have set the standard for so many. And I feel like for those that don't know this journey, your story is incredible. But just a little bit of who Patricia is and how she came to be in this space.
Wow, it's a long story, but I would say that my path was divinely orchestrated. So, when I was growing up, my goal was to become a lawyer. That's the path that my parents were trying to lead me to. And I used to talk a lot, so I thought, that would be a good one. But then I used to write and moderate plays at church. And one day I was moderating an Easter play that I'd written, and a gentleman walked up to me after church and said, I have a TV show I'm working on. Would you like to audition? I was just a first year university student, and I auditioned. Eventually, started to host that show while I was going to university. I was just a teenager. And then went on to Lagos, which is the largest city in Nigeria with about 14 million people, and
Mm.
hosted a daily talk show there. And then came to Canada and, you know, co-started Planet Africa show on Omni, and eventually launched a 24-hour TV channel, and went into magazine publishing, events, and all that.
Wow. And you have been how many years would you say in media?
I started this as a teenager, so it's getting to 40 years, believe it or not, close to 40.
a 40-year legacy, and so many people have been blessed and impacted by your work. And now you are shifting into film in a major way with this huge theatrical release of The Life Coach. I want to find out a little bit about what made you decide to come up with this movie concept, the story behind the film, anything you can share.
Yeah, so one day, my father and my siblings were having a prayer meeting. So we used to pray together every morning and night, like around 5 a.m. every day. So while we're saying our prayers, he told us something. He told us about his father, and he said, did you know that I didn't speak on time when I was a kid, and my dad was very upset, and he rejected me. And I heard him telling my mom that I'm not his son. And that really affected me. And when he was telling us this, he was shaking. Like that was my first encounter with trauma. He was so traumatized just telling us this. We cried, and that stuck with me. So, and I wanted to make a film about this because I also ended up having a child with extreme developmental delays. And I just got to understand exactly what my grandfather may have felt. And it started with me just wanting to make a film about childhood developmental delays and childhood trauma. And then as I was writing the script, mental health actually came in the fore. And as you know, when you have childhood trauma, most of the time it results in mental health challenges. So my dad was a very quiet man. He hardly talked, hardly smiled. Now that I know, I kind of know that he did have some mental health challenges, but he was never diagnosed. So I wanted to use my dad's story as, the premise to tell a story that resonate in today's world. So my dad eventually spoke. He eventually became a preacher. I was a Sunday school teacher. But the fellow in this film is a life coach, is a speaker. So he has this perfect public persona, but he's dealing with these personal demons and challenges stem from his, childhood trauma, and using social media to try to heal himself, which ends up being the reason he has to face authenticity, choose the redemptive power of love, and lean on the transformative power of authentic human connections. So yeah, that's
I
why.
love it. I love it. And the film has been doing so well. We'll talk about all of the incredible awards in just a minute, but in what way are you seeing the film connecting with the audience? Like are you hearing some incredible feedback, and also what's your hope for the film?
Yeah, so the film has screened before festival audiences around the world. And the first time it screened before a public audience as a non-festival audience was this past weekend in Dominica. And I have sat down. I was in New York when it screened at the festival in New York, and I was here in Toronto at CTFF when it screened, and then each time it screens, I mean, I think the most rewarding part for me is just sitting, and I like to sit at the back just to soak in, the side comments and everything, and then the Q&As, the questions that people ask. Like the last time we screened it, a leader in the community came out publicly to say, me too. I'm also dealing with a mental health challenge. In fact, I've been seeing a doctor, and I just came out of, the situation, and everybody was shocked.
Wow.
And that's what I want. I want us to be able to be authentic, because, vulnerability is not weakness; it's a form of strength. And for us to say, I'm dealing with this, and for somebody else to say, you know what, I'm here for you, or I see you, or me too. But because as a society, we kind of have come to a point where everybody's trying to put their best face, their best foot forward, where everything is airbrushed and covered up. But I want us to peel off those layers. And every time I've
Yeah.
screened this film, I see that people come to talk to me, and they say, in fact, somebody will come to me and say, I'm going to start seeing a therapist, or I'm going through this, or my daughter's going through this, or my son is going through that. Um, and even right there and there during the Q&A, people come up and they actually say they're dealing with these issues. But most importantly, the film also speaks about self-acceptance,
Mm.
the importance of forgiveness, not just forgiving yourself, but forgiving your parents or whoever has done things that have kind of caused trauma in your life. even for us as Black people, we have generational trauma. And scientists recently have proven that, you know, trauma in your past, your ancestors can affect you. So
Yeah.
past traumas are affecting us as a race, as a people. So being a Black
Wow.
person from a community that has gone through generational trauma,
Yes.
lineages have been fractured. This story, I think, is a timely one, and the reaction to it
Mm.
has been quite immense, and I think it's because it's resonating.
Mm. And Patricia, I've been privileged to watch the body of work that you've done collectively from a wider standpoint, and all of your work is empowering. It's uplifting. It talks about resilience and healing. Why are those things so important to you? You seem to thread them through a lot of what you do.
It's funny, my African name, Bukia, means solution. Maybe that's why. But right from when I was a kid, I have always loved things that inspire, like to be that person I see myself as an agent of love.
Mhm.
And whenever I'm not that, I am heartbroken. Whenever I'm not able to be an agent of love, I feel heartbroken. And um, I've always been one to share, and I always get excited when people are doing well or living their purpose. Even when I don't know them, I've watched TV and I've seen somebody sing so well, and I'm cheering, and I'm just excited for them. I want to showcase, people who are doing
Yes.
amazing work, and that's what I've been doing with all media properties. Showcasing people, trying to spot talents and bringing them to the forefront.
Yes.
It's just something that I love. And I wrote a mission statement for my life, and I said is to is to help others discover their purpose and to cheer them on as they go along. So
Mm.
cheering you on to say, yes, you got this, you can do this. I
Yes.
think, that's my calling, and that's what
Mhm.
I just want to continue to do, even in the film space.
And you have done that so well, Patricia. I just want to give you your flowers. you
Thank you.
you are a champion of others, and you live to open doors for other people. I believe that's why God has blessed you. I believe that's why you're still standing. I believe that's why all of heaven is backing you up in everything you do, because you think of others. You're selfless in that way.
Thank you.
um, Absolutely. And I want to think of thinking about film. You've lived in the television space for so long. You were hosting. You've been behind the camera, but film is a different animal. And I wonder, what was that transition
Ah.
like to film? Tell me about the experience for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you've been doing TV and you've done film too, so it's a different animal. Film is quite something, and but I think experience in television does help. At least you know the basics. But film requires a lot of patience, and there's a lot of moving parts. It was very challenging, but the good thing is that I had made a drama series from, where I wrote, directed, and produced for Afro Global. So that kind of like was like a training ground. That project was kind of made for the small screen for TV. But
Mhm.
even just producing, a film for theaters or for the big screen, it's a different ball game. From the kind of equipment you use to the sound, everything is completely different. But I would say that the experience has been quite great. But being a director, when I was making this film was very challenging because it was my first feature, and I was looking up to some people to help me, but then I kept hearing, you're the director. What do you want? What is the vision? What do you want? And I kept saying, well, what do you think? What do you think? But I think that really helped because it helped me to dig inside and to be creative, to be more creative. By the time I finished this film, because I directed, I wrote, I even wrote two songs. The theme song and another song that played in the film. I had to approve the music for the scoring, everything, like sitting with the editor. By the time I finished, Cheryl, I was completely drained. That's creatively. Like, they don't ask me to do anything else. For some time, I was just completely drained because I gave my everything to this project. But it's completely different from TV. Now I know TV is easy.
Wow. And the life coach is doing so well. Talk to us about how it's being received. I know that it's won some awards. Tell us all the things.
Yeah, so it's won so many awards. It won Best Actor, Best Director, Best Narrative Feature, Best Black Film, Best Script. Like it's won so many awards in London, in Italy, in France, in the US,
Mhm.
even in India. And here at home in Canada, it won Audience Choice at CTFF. And every time it plays, when I sit there, I see people cry, they cry, they laugh, and but I see them walk away in deep thought, thinking about their own lives, the things that are holding them bound, or the trauma that they have not even recognized. Because sometimes we go through things and we choose to forget them because we're just too afraid, to deal with them. But this film actually has made a lot of people to say, you know what, yeah, this happened, to also feel seen, to know that they're not alone, and to be able to make sense of some of the things that they go through. Because in the film, you see this boy, this man who's going through childhood trauma, the role his mother played, and even his father, why he was the way he was. And I think people are just seeing a film that is not a regular, kind of film. The script is different. I would say it was divinely inspired because even when I was writing, there are certain things I wanted to add, but I just wasn't allowed. And I
Mm.
just followed. I just followed and I just kept following. And even when we're shooting, even the cast, the way the cast came together was divinely orchestrated. When I was writing the script, I kept on seeing a face in my head, um, to play Gary Johnson. And one day
Yes.
I walk into a building at an event and I see this fellow that looks exactly like this person I've been seeing in my head as I'm writing the script. And I walked up to him. The first thing I asked him, I said, God, you better be an actor. So I asked him, are you an actor? He said, how did you know? I'm like, I have a film I'm working on. I want you to audition. I didn't tell him I was seeing him in my head, but I said, I want you to audition. And guess what? 4 days after I wrote the script, this gentleman sent me a text. Patricia, what about the film you said you were working on? I was like, no way. 4 days after, like God saying, in case you forgot, this is the chosen person. And then another lady, came and auditioned, and I had a dream that she was supposed to play Lisa. And I called my assistant director and I said, I had a dream that this lady was supposed to play Lisa, but we had made other decisions regarding the casting. So he said, so follow your leading. So we cast her as Lisa. And so on the day of a wrap party, she came to me and said, Patricia, there's something I must tell you. She said, my sister had developmental delays and she was killed in Toronto. And when I saw the audition call and it had to do with this subject matter, I said, I want to be part of this film to honor my sister's memory. And she said, I'm not an actor, I'm a therapist. I'm a mental health therapist. And she said, Patricia, guess what? You gave me a role for Lisa. My sister's name was Lisa. I was like,
Oh,
no way. No way. So there are just things like that that happened. Even the team, I have been on many sets, but the way the set was just everybody. It was like a very peaceful, loving set, so that people did not want to leave. When we finished shooting, like we wanted to continue because we loved going to work. There's just something special about this project. I just see
yeah.
myself as a messenger. And that's why I can't, I'm happy about the awards, but I won't say how I can take the glory for it. I mean, we had a great team. They put in so much work.
Yes.
But I think they also believed in this project, every single one of them. Like when we went to New York for the festival, people just paid their way, like to just go to the festival, like the team members. I was even like, okay, I'll pay some of your ticket, but they didn't ask. So
Wow.
it's just a special project, and I'm so glad that I am even a little part of it.
Yeah, and there is definitely something special about this project, and I cannot wait for all of Canada to see it, to see it, and to view it, and to spread the word. How can we watch it? Tell us where we can go and support this film.
So the film is actually going to be released in Canada on March 28th, in select Imagine, Landmark, and Cineplex theaters. So if you go to the lifecoachfilm.com, you will see all the theater chains that are carrying the movie listed. So it's going to be in theaters for at least a week. It could go for another week if if the additions are made to it in terms of a strong first couple of days. So
Yeah,
that first weekend that comes is very important. So come out, talk to your family and friends to come out and see it. Um, and so you can just go to a city near you
yeah.
and just watch this film that the whole world is thrilled about. And I'm sure Canadians, this is home. This is the actors and everyone is Canadian in this film. So I think we should just go support it and show the world that we too love it.
I love it. And I want to say that again so people get that landmark, Imagine. And
And
what were the other?
Cineplex.
And Cineplex. So you're looking for listings, you're looking for the life coach, type in the life coach. So, guys, we want to show up and show out. We want to support our own. This woman has been instrumental in the landscape of media in Canada and has been a huge community advocate. So, listen, this week, kicking off March 28th for the entire week, we are going to the movies. We're going to go see the life coach. We're going to talk about it. We're going to text. We're going to tweet it up. We're going to do social media around it and we're going to get the buzz going. Patricia, I'm so excited for this next leg for you, this next journey. What's
Thank
next
you.
for you? Speaking of next, what's on the horizon?
Oh my God, right now I'm just soaking in the film and trying to get it out because my goal is to get it on Netflix, Prime, and some other platforms next year. So I want to do all the theatrical releases this year, if possible. Um, but I am actually working on my next feature already. So yeah, I'm working on the next one already.
Love
So
it.
very soon, well, I'm gonna start to
I
do
love it.
pre-production and all that. But yeah, so
I love
it's a
it.
lot in store.
I love it. This next chapter, Patricia, the filmmaker, I'm here for it. We are here for it. Before I let you go, I've got one more question, but also, how can we follow you? How can we support you? Tell us where we can find you, website, socials.
Yeah, yeah. So my company is called Diamond Plus Media. We have a YouTube page where we post everything to do with our work, including the life coach film. And then on social media, Patricia Bebia. I'm looking for another Patricia Bebia out there, but I'm lucky. I'm the only one out there right now with that name. But
Perfect.
so you can find me on social media at Patricia Bebia. I also have a YouTube page where I have posted some inspirational videos as well, so you can check them out.
Absolutely, we will. Listen, before we let you go, I know that you live to inspire and encourage, and I want to ask you this question because someone asked me yesterday, "What's the one thing you would ask Patricia?" And my question is this for you: What has made you not give up?
Cheryl, 2 years ago, a couple of years, more than 2 years ago, I was going through the biggest challenge of my life. And as a Christian leader, I never wanted to find myself in this position, in this situation. I was going through a divorce, and I kept it a secret for over 2 years. And the public didn't know. I just like my film, actually. Thought everything was okay. We show up in public, we smile, we do the pictures, and so one day I was at church and somebody said, "How is your husband?" And I said, "Fine."
Mm.
And something told me, "You just lied." I'm like, "Uh-oh." And I thought, okay, I'm actually lying. Every time I go in public and I post those pictures, and I told myself I was going to tell the truth. And so I said before the end of last year, and I did come up, publicly to say this is a situation. And I did that, and I mean, I wish my ex and his new baby and his partner the very best, but this situation nearly sunk me.
Yeah.
Um, it affected my children, affected us. There were times I couldn't get out of bed for a few days, and when I was shooting the life coach film was the worst time, and I almost didn't continue with the project. But the message of the film, the hashtag that we've been, putting around about the film is KSA, which means keep sailing always. Whatever
Wow.
happens, don't drown. Don't let the situation drown you. Just keep showing up. Just take that one step and then take another step, another step. You don't even need to do big things. And so I said to myself, I just wrote a script about keep sailing always. And am I going to let this sink me? So I decided to take the message of this film and let it help me to finish the film. I will go. There are times I will run in the bathroom and cry, but I'll come back and I'll say action. I will keep going. And I try not to make sure. I made sure. I told myself, Patricia, when you go to set, don't bring this energy. Go there, smile, and let there be a happy set. Let people be happy coming to work. And I told my production manager, Deborah, I said, Deborah, I want people to be happy coming to set. How can we do that? And I said, this movie, I know the story is a bit dark. Let there be darkness only when it's dark. Every other part of the film, from wardrobe to everything, has to spell hope. So if you watch the film, the colors, even the decor, it was bright, it was hopeful. And that was me reflecting what I was going through, hope. So I kept going to work and we finished the film. And one step after another step, one day at a time. And I'll say that I'm in a very good place now. And I got a therapist to help me deal with some of the things, emotions that I could not understand. What I would say to everyone out there, whatever you're going through, just keep sailing always. Don't just allow it to drown you. Hold on to something. God, family members, and friends. In hindsight, I wish I reached out to people because I went through this alone. I didn't even tell my mom about the situation until maybe like about over a year. I was dealing with it alone. I couldn't talk about it. And that's not a way to live. God did not create us to be alone. Nobody is meant to be in isolation on an island. That's why when we start to become mentally ill because it's not an ideal situation. So when you're going through stuff, remember this: vulnerability is not weakness; it is strength. Tell someone or get a therapist. So, God helped me through this situation. I decided to trust Him and to take one day at a time, and that's how I pulled through. That's why I'm still going through some struggles, but I'm not afraid because I mean, when I look at where I've come from, I say to myself, "You got this," and God is taking you somewhere. Yeah. Mm.
Goodness. There's no better way to end a conversation. I want to thank you for sharing so vulnerably, but always, even in your brokenness and in your hard situations, you're always still encouraging others. I'm so grateful for you. Your voice matters, Patricia. Your voice in this nation is so loud and strong, and we need more of it. I cannot wait to see what God's going to do next in you. So, thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
coming on the path.
Thank you, Cheryl, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to On the Path podcast with Cheryl Nembhard. Please like, download, and subscribe. This has been an Exousia Media production.